All right, my dears, today we are going to focus a little bit on lengthening our hamstrings, on some low back stuff, some hip stuff, and we'll definitely want our yoga tune-up balls. If you have a strap or anything that you can use as a strap, so if you're watching this later on YouTube from home, like a bathrobe tie is an awesome strap. But if you have a strap, we will at one point interlace them. So you can do that now because we can use them interlaced the whole time. So with the straps, you want to make sure that you're going through both loops and then back through one and giving it a good couple tugs kind of vigorously so that you know it's not going to move. Yeah. And then tennis balls work great in place of yoga tune-up balls. We're going to start today in a restorative pose known as fish. So if you have a block, fantastic. If you don't, you could have a book or even a pillow, and you can roll up your pillow or you can roll up a blanket. And we're going to place it underneath our shoulder blades. So coming here, allowing the shoulder blades to be supported by the block, and then maybe a pillow or cushion under your head. Knees are bent, feet walk wide, knees come in toward one another. And we'll take a few breaths here. And just notice. So what I notice is the back of my ribs there, very tender today. And so my challenge is to let my body soften. The more I kind of resist against the block, the more tender it might be. So if we can imagine that we're almost like melting butter here, like a real, like if you pull butter out of the freezer, that's how my mid back feels right now. And could it soften? Could you imagine the warm sun on your body and a little bit of softening beginning to occur? And then we'll direct our breath to our rib cage. So notice where your breath naturally resides. Is it in your chest or your throat? Is it in your belly? Just notice. And then we'll start to lengthen our breath a little bit if possible. And also notice, can you direct your breath to your back, to the sides, as well as the front? And if you think, no, I can't really, that's okay. Just focus on maybe a little bit of movement in the back against the block or pillow or blanket or book. Maybe feel a little expansion, very small in the ribs, the sides, and the front. And then on the exhale, notice the natural tendency for the belly to come in. And then we'll bring our palms together above our heart. Inhale here. And then reach your arms overhead. Maybe they hit a bolster if you're using that, or a pillow. Stay for a deep breath in. And then bring them back up over your chest, but really draw your belly in as you do. Inhale here. And then allow the arms to go overhead to the floor or pillow. Inhale here. Really draw the front of your ribs in. Use your core to lift your arms back up. So this is very subtle core. Inhale here. Exhale, arms go overhead. But we can make it more challenging. Inhale here. By really trying the belly in and feeling, pretending our arms weigh 50 pounds each. All the way up. Inhale here. Exhale overhead. Inhale here. And the arms come back. Now open your arms out to either side. Inhale here. And on the exhale, like you're hugging a tree, draw your belly in. Draw the front of your ribs in. And arms go wide like you're going to hug a tree. Inhale, open. Exhale, gather the belly in and fingertips touch. Inhale, open. Exhale, gather in. Two more. Inhale, open. Exhale, gather in. Last one. Inhale, open. Exhale, gather. And then open your arms out. We'll take about 5 breaths here, allowing the shoulders to relax down the best you can. Then we'll curl off to one side. And stay here for a couple breaths, rounding the spine a little bit like a fetal position, and just breathe into the back body here. If you can feel your breath expand the back of the ribs. Great, and then we're going to move everything out of the way. We'll grab our strap. If you don't have a strap for this first part, you can just grab your leg, your left leg, behind the hamstring or knee, just kind of not right in the knee, so you're putting pressure there, but maybe just above or just below. If you do have a strap, you'll put it over the ball of that left foot and flex out through the heel of that left foot. And then begin to straighten the right leg. Right leg might not go completely straight, and that's fine. And if it's too much on the low back, bend that right knee and place the foot to the earth. And then we'll bend this left knee and draw it in toward our belly. And then exhale, straighten and flex through the heel. We'll do that 5 more times. Bend the knee, inhale. Straighten and flex through the heel on the exhale. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. 2 more. And then on this last one, we'll hold and try to look at your foot and see if maybe the pinky toe edge side isn't flexing quite as much. That's true for me, so I'll pull down just a little bit more on that side of the strap. Take a few breaths here. And we'll allow the leg to move out to the left a little bit and flex through the heel. Notice your right leg here. You might be able to straighten it a little bit and flex through the right. Notice what happens to the front of that right hip and thigh. Couple more breaths here. And then we'll bring that left leg across the body just a tiny bit. So maybe it's lining up with your right shoulder. And we'll try to straighten the leg. For me, I really feel my outer calf here. So I've got to give a little grace to that knee, a little bend to that knee. And take a few breaths here. And then a little bit further. Maybe you're starting to feel the outer left hip or thigh. Notice what's true in your body. And then perhaps a little bit further. Breathe in here, noticing how, for me, it moves from my calf to my outer hip. Notice what's true for your body. And then if I start to flex through my heel, I sure feel my calf again. And then we're coming all the way back up and a little bit more on the hamstring. So extending a straight-ish leg towards your head. Great, and then we're gonna take that leg out and for a moment, bend both knees, have both feet come to the floor. And just notice the difference between your left and right leg. Breathe here. Do you feel any tingling or energy in that left leg? Any blood flow? Just notice. And we'll place the right foot in the strap if you have it. If you don't have it, you can go behind the thigh. And we'll start by extending this left leg a little. It might not be fully straight, and that's fine. Then the right knee, draw in toward the belly. And then straighten the leg. Bend the knee. Straighten the leg. Bend the knee. Straighten and flex through the heel. 3 more. And this next time, just flexing through that heel. And you might notice, does the pinky toe edge side of the foot need a little bit more encouragement with the strap? If you don't have a strap, you can kind of just imagine flexing it towards you. There's a lot that happens just with our intention. We'll allow that leg to extend out to the right a little bit. And here we might work with the left leg, straightening that left leg, flexing through the heel. Just notice the front of that left thigh, the hip flexor, quads. Take a few breaths here. My dears, we'll come back to center and come just a little ways over to the left. Flexing through the heel the best you can. You might have to give a little grace to that knee. It might not be completely a straight leg. A little bit further. A little bit more. Just notice how the awareness shifts to different parts of your body, perhaps. Maybe one more little bit over to the left. And then we'll come back to center. And as we do, we'll stretch this hamstring just a little bit more. My dears, we'll undo the strap, put it off to the side. Bend your knees, both feet are flat. You might windshield wiper your legs a little. And then right ankle comes on the left knee. And we'll continue to windshield wiper a little bit here, side to side slowly. And just notice your hips, your thighs, what you're feeling here. And then let both legs come all the way over to the left. That might mean your right foot touches the ground. Maybe you hold on to that right ankle. Right knee is up toward the sky. And then we'll come back to center and allow both of our legs to go over to the right. Draw the belly in a little. Then let's come back to center and thread the needle. You can reach between your legs, or you can just hold on to this right leg. Either way, you might shift a little bit side to side to see what feels like the most useful place to stay another few breaths. And then half happy baby on this right leg. Maybe you straighten the left leg and flex through the heel. Foot does not have to be all the way down to the ground. Or maybe you keep a bend to the knee and your foot is flat to the earth on that left side. See what feels useful for you. we'll come back to center and release. And windshield wiper our legs a little bit, both feet on the floor. And then left ankle, right knee, and we'll begin to windshield wiper a little side to side. Noticing the hips, the thighs, maybe even your low back here. I know I noticed my low back, especially on this side. And then both legs come over to the right. You could hold onto that left ankle with your right hand. Your right foot might be on the floor. It might not be all the way down to the floor. Whatever feels useful to you to stretch this left hip, left thigh. Just nice. And then both legs come back to center and all the way over to the left. And so here, drawing the belly lightly in, stretching the front of that right thigh, the side. I even feel up into my hip flexor a little bit here. Notice what you notice. And my dears, coming back to center, thread the needles. So you could reach between your legs or just hold lightly onto this left leg. You might sway side to side until you find a spot that feels useful. And then half happy baby on this left side. You might straighten the right leg and flex through the heel, even if that means your leg comes up off the floor, or you might bend the knee, foot flat. See what you want to do with your right side, and we'll stay a few more breaths here. And we'll release this side, and my dears will come over onto hands and knees. So this is one of the most strengthening things we can do for our low back and our SI joints, which can be so problematic for so many of us. So we're on hands and knees. We're going to donkey kick that right leg up and then bring the right knee out toward the right elbow. Donkey kick it back up, out toward the right elbow. Donkey kick it up, out toward the right elbow. Now this time, we're going to go back to the donkey kick first, and then draw the knee in toward the belly. Out, up, in toward the belly. Out to the right, up, in toward the belly. Place that side down. Donkey kick the left leg up, bring it out and toward the left arm. In, up, out, toward the left arm. In, up, out, toward the left arm. Then pause here, go out, up, in toward the belly. Out, up, in toward the belly. Out, up, in toward the belly. And then hands and knees, inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Stay for an inhale and cat. Exhale, cow. Inhale here. Exhale, cat. Inhale here. Exhale, cow. Toes tuck under, downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Let's slowly come back to hands and knees. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, cow. Bring your forearms down to the earth. Grab your triceps. Make sure your elbows are under your shoulders. Bring your palms out in front like namaste hands, some people say, Anjali Mudra. Or you could interlace your fingers, tucking the bottom pinky under, whatever feels right to you. Before we do anything else, let's push into the whole length of our forearms, especially our wrists. And then imagine we're going to draw our elbows toward our knees and look slightly forward. You might stay here. This is strengthening for the shoulders. Or you might tuck your toes under and lift your hips up for dolphin pose. 5 breaths here. Continuing to try to ground down through the wrists. Slowly bring your knees back down. You might open your knees quite wide for extra room for your sweet belly, child's pose. And then we'll come up. And we're going to see if we can do dolphin one other way, sometimes called forearm dog, where our wrists are out, our elbows are under our shoulders. So we're kind of making a square, tracing your elbow straight out to your wrist, over to your other wrist, straight back to your elbow. Gripping the mat a little bit here, grounding down through the pointer finger knuckle, weight in the wrists. Push into your length of your forearm, feel your shoulder blades broaden. Then imagine drawing your elbows toward your knees as you slightly look forward. You might stay here or tuck your toes under and lift your hips. Continue to find some purchase there with your inner wrists, pointer finger knuckles, rooting down. And then rest. Maybe child's pose. Maybe child's pose isn't as restful as like sitting back on your heels. So that's an alternative as well. And then when you're ready, downward facing dog. Then we'll walk our feet all the way forward to our hands. Halfway lift on the inhale. Fold forward on the exhale. Rise up on the inhale. Mountain pose. So one more thing for the hamstrings here. It's called pyramid pose. So we'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. We're going to step our right foot back and line up our left heel to our right heel. Right toes are out at about 2 o'clock. And we'll come all the way up. Straightening both of your legs, drawing your quads up away from your knees a little bit. Reach your right arm forward. Feel how that draws your right ribs forward. And then start to hinge forward at your hips with a real flat back. Some of you might touch your thigh or your shin or blocks or the earth. And then bow your head towards your shin as you draw your left hip a little bit back. Now, some of you might like your hands touching something on the ground, yeah? So we'll stay with this for another couple breaths. And then let's put a bend in that front knee, push into the leg, come all the way up. Another version of pyramid is to reach behind your back for opposite wrists or elbows, or wiggle your hands up a little bit with a fist bump, or even namaste or Anjali Mudra, hands behind your back. That one's a lot for my wrists, so I like a fist bump. Wiggling them up toward the back of the heart. They're nowhere near, but toward. Shoulders come back. Left hip draws back. Both legs engage. With a flat back coming forward. Keep drawing that left hip back. And then forehead toward the chin. If that's too much with the hands, frame that front foot. And then plant your palms, down dog. Walk your feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward. Eyes all the way up. Mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach up. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Left toes step back, kind of a shortish stance. Heel to heel alignment the best you can. Bend that front knee. Come all the way up. Both legs are straight. Left arm reaches forward. Really draw that left arm forward, feel the left ribs draw forward so the hips are more square. Hinge at that right hip crease. Maybe your hands touch your thigh, your shin, your ankle blocks, or the earth. Nice flat back inhale. And then bow your head toward your shin. Bend that knee, push it into the foot, come all the way up. Grab opposite wrists or elbows, or perhaps you fist bump or Anjali Mudra behind the heart. Shoulders are back, Coming forward with a real flat back. And then bowing towards your shin. Feeling your feet, drawing that right hip back. If it's too much with the hands, release the handspring, the front foot. And downward facing dog. And then we'll come to our knees. And all the way over onto our backs, all the way over onto our backs. So as we come onto our backs, grabbing hold of a pillow, placing it between your knees, and twisting to the right. Knees go all the way down to the right. As you do this, notice the left side of the low back, mid back, left shoulder, wherever you might feel some tenderness or stiffness. When you come back to center, my dears, we're going to grab a tennis ball or yoga tune-up ball and place it on the left side of the low back, up kind of high and in pretty close. Now, if you have the real small balls, you could use 2 balls and they would be in that vertical way. So you would place the 2 balls in that vertical way. I might do that even with these large balls today. It makes it a little less intense. And so if you have 2 tennis balls, 2 yoga tune-up balls, place them in that vertical way on the left side of the low back, in pretty close to the spine, left ankle, right knee, slight windshield wiper. If that's too much, then just remain still and breathe. Always focus on the breath. Any opportunity we have to bring the breath to our awareness helps to regulate our emotions, our thoughts. Helps to calm us. Bring the parasympathetic nervous system online. The rest, digest, is going to be all right, part of the nervous system. Then we'll move the balls out a little bit to the left. Out a little to the left. Oh. So here's where I'm going to go down to 1. The balls are quite large that I'm using. They're like softball size. But you might still stack them. And we might start to add more of a windshield wiper here. So you know at the beginning of class how we would have our knees go all the way over to the left with the left foot. The left ankle, right knee. You can do that here or stop anywhere along the way. Trying to find spots that feel useful. And then a little bit more out to the left. And then we'll release that side and just stay a few breaths here. And then maybe without a pillow, we'll twist to the right. If that's too much of a twist on your low back today, you can always put the pillow between the knees. And in essence, we're stretching the area we just rolled, and we'll kind of notice, does it feel any different than before we rolled? We'll come back to center. Take a few breaths here. And then with the pillow between our knees, we'll twist to the right or left and feel the right side. So twist to the left. Notice the right side of your low back, even the mid back, the shoulder, all of that. But just kind of feel into what's going on the right side. And then we'll come back to center and place the balls in that vertical way, close to the spine on the right side of the low back. Right ankle, left knee. And maybe you windshield wiper, or maybe you stay still and just focus on your breath. See what feels useful. Notice where your breath is, the quality of that breath. You might move the ball or balls a little bit more to the right. Ooh, I got this spot. Oh my goodness. So remember, you can have your legs go toward the right, still keeping that right ankle on the left knee. You might stay still. You might move a little, see what works. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to be quiet and just breathe. And then just a little bit more to the right. Oh my goodness. Having your body in a position that feels useful to you. Right ankle, left knee, legs going to the right. See what works. Amazing how tight some of these muscles can actually get and we still function. Then we'll come back slowly to center. Falls out. Whew. Windshield wiper perhaps a little. And then come twist to the left, maybe without the pillow. And then we'll come back to center. Have our knees bent and our feet flat to the earth. And begin with your rolling bridges, So pushing into the feet, lifting your hips, arms go up overhead, and then rolling down vertebra by vertebra. I like to lift my heels when I roll down, but you don't need to. Do that a few times. Then, placing one ball, if it's larger size, behind your neck. Or if you have the little ones, you might use a block and use both little ones on the block. We're aiming right kind of for the hairline where our head and neck connect. Here, we might very gently nod yes or no. But just kind of move your head in a soothing way. Slow, is my suggestion. Then settling into some stillness, and we're going to focus on our breathing. So we'll count our inhale and try to match the length of the exhale. So if I inhale to 4, exhale to 4. Focusing on evening out, equal inhale, equal exhale. dears, remove the ball from the block and allow yourselves to come to a resting pose. You might keep your knees bent, feet flat, or you might put a bolster underneath your knees or pillow. You can even come to your side, but a place where you feel able to fully be here, let go. And we're going to focus a little bit more on our breath. Our breath is our biggest tool to downregulate the nervous system, to calm our minds, to calm our emotions. So you know how we were breathing before, inhale, 4, exhale. Now we're going to try to double the length of the exhale. So if I inhale to 4, I exhale to 8. If that doesn't feel available to you, you can always do 4, 6. But we'll try to inhale 4, exhale 8, see how it goes. And my dears, just let your breath be natural and effortless. And we'll remain still for another few moments. When you're ready, making your way slowly back to a seat. And as we arrive, our hands can be in Anjali Mudra or any position that feels nourishing to you right now. And we share these practices that help us to come into our bodies, our first home, these bodies. Come back to a sense of belonging. Come back to an acknowledgement of where we're strong, where we're weak, where we're tired, where we feel pain or tenderness, as well as where we feel ease. All of it having a place. And we acknowledge that we are strong enough to hold all of that and all of our emotions and thoughts. Begin to build this resilience, this trust in who we are. And in that small way, we can create just a little bit more peace in our own being and be truer advocates of peace in the world. In that spirit of peace, we say Shanti, Shalom, Salam, Amani, Maluhia, Irini, Shiakan, Jam, Pache, Paz. In the spirit of our collective liberation and truth, we say Ashe, Amin, Amen, blessed be, Kapu Aloha, in Makach, Satnam, Namaste, Matakwiasan, Black Lives Matter.